we have Miss Britt Frank, and she is a licensed neuropsychotherapist, and she talks all about how you can get unstuck. Now, let's dive into this episode of The Happy Hustle. You want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Carrie Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. All right, Britt Frank, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my friend. I am super excited to rock the mic with you.
Thanks for having me on. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you are a licensed neuropsychotherapist, speaker, author of the book Science of Stuck. You also have a new book out, which I'm very excited to discuss. And you have received your BA from Duke University, a master's from University of Kansas, and you are an award-winning instructor. You're from New York originally, and you migrated to the Midwest. I'm excited to hear more about your journey. You've also been featured in Forbes and NPR and Esquire. And your new book is called Align Your Mind, which hits shelves May 13th, 2025. So depending on when you're listening to this, it's probably out and about, and you can pick up a copy. Britt Frank, I'm super excited to talk all things alignment and how to happy hustle more peace and joy. And I feel like now our culture is just glorifying the grind, and a lot of people get stuck in this analysis paralysis where they're like, do I go right? Do I go left? I'm just going to do nothing. I want to start my side hustle. I want to write my book, but I'm not doing any of it. You know, it's just, there's this big chasm of where people want to go and where they currently are oftentimes. And yeah, I want to talk about it. So let's first, before we get into all that good stuff, ask, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know, Britt?
So my sordid history as a crystal meth addict, I think is common knowledge at this point. So I can't say that anymore because it's like, yeah, we know. Hot mess, check. So I moonlight as a circus performer for fun with a student company because the only place my brain fully quiets down is upside down, 15 feet in the air, spinning around on a hoop.
All right. Interesting stuff. And when do you do this? Just randomly, or do you
I can overthink rock climbing, and to a degree I can overthink surfing, not totally, but doing circus I can't overthink. You can't think at all. So part of the way that I'm a happy hustler is I counterbalance the output that I do with things like I train a few times a week, unless I'm doing a show like I am this weekend, and so it's like all training. It's not a grind, but it's a hustle.
Wow. Well, so I was born in Sarasota, Florida. If you know, it's a big circus town. Have you ever been down there?
Mm-hmm. It's so cool. And I was not born to a family of circus performers. I'm an East Coast, we don't move. I chain smoked for 20 years. I just picked it up in my mid 30s because it sounded cool and I got hooked.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm glad you stopped smoking too, because yeah, that'll kill you.
Yeah, I've heard that. It took me a minute.
Yeah, right. Well, let's talk about your new book. I always just like to kick things off with a bang and really get tactical with the happy hustlers. So first and foremost, it's called Align Your Mind. Why did you write this book?
So I wrote the book I needed. I think that tends to go well for people. And it's not like, let me help the world. What do you need to do with your life? It's like, what do I need? I need this. Yeah. And this book's based on a model of therapy that I practice. Simply put, if you've seen the movie Inside Out, this is the book version of that with tools for how to help all the little characters that are running around your head get along with each other instead of fighting with each other and making your life crazy. And so I wrote the book I needed.
Now, I feel like there's so many different ways we could go with that. But most great books that I know solve a real problem. And, you know, they're not about the author, although the author's story is woven throughout. Like, even when I was writing The Happy Hustle, our book, version 2.0, it's, yeah, sure, about me, but it's not for me. It's it was for, the book is for someone who was struggling with something that I also struggled with. So when you talk to someone who is struggling with this problem, how do you find that problem so they can properly identify if it is for them?
Yeah. And so I agree. It wasn't just like, let me write Britt's story and Britt's memoir. But the question I get asked the most as a psychotherapist, and it's the same question from super successful entrepreneurs with the dream exits and teenagers and athletes and suicidal kids. Everyone asks the same question. And it's this: why is it that part of me knows what I need to do? We know. It's not like you don't know. Don't smoke meth. Don't smoke cigarettes. Drink the water. Hug a puppy. Phone a friend. Why is it that part of me knows what I need to do, but another part of me is taking me in the opposite direction? I feel at war between these two parts of myself. What is wrong with me? And this book it's not my idea what solves that problem, but it's my take on, there's actually a way that you work with all these different parts of you. It's called parts work, and it's not complicated. You don't have to be a rocket science person or a neuroscience person to be able to solve for why does part of me go left and part of me go right, and how do I stop that?
I feel like everybody's nodding their head right now, watching and listening. It's like,
if you're not, tell me how you did it.
What's your secret? How many puppies have you hugged? Because I agree, that is a solution for sure in the short term. But it's not going to get you there long term. So let's talk brass tacks. Let's just get right into it. And obviously, people need to pick up a copy to go super deep. But give us the nuts and bolts on how we actually align our mind.
And it's align your mind and not fix it, change it, like get rid of it. Because if you've tried to tell your inner critic to shut up, it doesn't work. And if you've ever tried to tell your fear, leave me alone, I'm not in the mood for you today, you also know that doesn't work. If it worked, it would have worked. And we wouldn't have your podcast, my stuff. It just wouldn't be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to be able to work with these parts. The practical brass tacks things are, you can talk to the parts of yourself. And happiness, happy hustler, I think this idea that happiness means that nothing else is in there. But happiness doesn't mean that sadness, pain, fear, shame, regret, disgust, it's all still there. It's just happiness means that you're driving the team instead of being run over by the team. And this is the tactical how to run the team of people inside your mind so that you can be happy and all the other things too.
Yeah. I think of Mickey Singer. Have you ever read The Untethered Soul by chance? Or
I know the book. I haven't read it.
Yeah, great book, great human. He was my brother's personal mentor down in Florida at the University of Florida. He has a meditation, basically retreat ranch that he built with his hands back in the day. My mom was friends with him too, actually. Fun fact, because they grew up, in the same era. And he has these meditation workshops where you can go to his property and just go sit in on a meditation. And for the record, Oprah mentioned Mickey Singer and said if she ever had to leave one book for humanity, and only one book, it would be The Untethered Soul. So that's what kind of, person this is. Anyway, long story short, one of the things he said that's always resonated with me when I was in his meditation training is you must recognize that you are not your mind. You are the one hearing your mind. And I was like, that's so profound, but yet so simple, right? So it sounds a little bit in alignment with what you're talking about. So how do we align our mind and our team so we are the ones in control, and we are, if we say, hey, we want to lose 10 pounds, yet we shove ho-hos and, are drinking Coors Light, we're not obviously in alignment with our actions and our beliefs and our desires. So how do we put it all together, Britt?
I love that you said ho-hos. That's such a retro,
I don't know,
candy to pull. I love those. They're so good. So it's such an East Coast thing. So the thing with that, and that's a dilemma, right? Part of me knows don't eat the ho-hos. Part of me is eating the ho-hos. Great. So instead of fighting with yourself, alignment means I'm going to sit down and actually figure out what's going on with this part of me that has no interest in my health goals. Because if you sit down and you observe the parts of you doing the bad things, you're going to find out very quickly they're not out to get you. They're not out to destroy you. We were taught to hate our own brains. We were taught to fear our own minds. But if you sit down and you have a cup of tea with these parts, so to speak, you'll figure out that they're usually scared of rejection, abandonment, or failure. Because in the like lion brain physiology, rejection equals death, failure equals death. And our brains don't update like our phones do. And so our brains are still set to OS lion, which means survival comes before success in your brain's economy until you retrain it. And so, we are the eye that hears the thoughts. I am the observer of the part of me who wants the junk food. I am not that there's junk food. Sorry, let's just back up. There is no junk food. There's room at the table for all the food. The part of me that wants the suboptimal food choices.
I think there's junk food.
I'm just trying to cover my bases here.
Oh, no, we don't give a shit about woke culture here, Britt. Sorry.
Oh, okay, good. I don't have to disclaimer. No. Sweet.
No, so, if you're eating shit food, we're going to tell you on the Happy Hustle Pod.
Excellent. But we immediately say this part of me is bad. And it's like, yeah, there's bad behaviors, but all of our parts that make us who we are have a place at the table. If you're fighting with yourself, you're going to lose every time.
So true. Yeah. And I think that's especially for entrepreneurs and high performers who are the happy hustlers, watching and listening. I feel like the biggest battle that they face, and I can speak for myself too, is like, specifically as a male, I want to provide, protect, procreate, the 3 Ps, right? That I know many men feel this innate calling to do. And oftentimes you almost feel guilty when you're working or when you're not working, and you're with like maybe your family or you're doing something for yourself, and you're like, oh, I should be productive. I should be listening to a podcast. I should be, this and that. Like there's this more disease, I call it, that we're always infected with. Like I could be doing more, and it's overwhelming. Oftentimes, especially in the modern day era with technology and this, everyone's freaking comparing and despairing themselves to everyone on social media. It's like that's their highlight reel, and your life doesn't mimic their journey. Oftentimes you could feel disappointment and despair within oneself. So how do we combat this inner struggle that we face as high performers?
I've got the best analogy for this because it's freaking easy. So like, do you drive a stick shift? Most people don't anymore. But like,
I drive a F-350 pickup truck. It doesn't have, it's automatic.
No shame. So if you're driving a stick, anyone who's ever, even I, like you'll get this. You cannot go from 90 miles an hour in 5th gear to 20 miles an hour in 1st gear. You cannot shift straight from 5th to 1st because you'll blow your car. And there are knuckleheads on YouTube that have done it. Like, watch them do it. You cannot shift from 90 in 5th to 20 in 1st. High performer, entrepreneur, hustler lifestyle is 90 in 5th. But what happens is we're going 90 in 5th. We're doing our things. And then it's, why can't I just relax with my family? Relaxing with your family is a 20 mile an hour in 1st gear task. So to get from 5th to 1st, you have to downshift.
Yep.
You have to downshift. So the problem isn't fight yourself, fight the guilt. It's if you can't do that 5th to 1st, it's because you haven't shifted down enough. And there are very practical ways to do the shifting. But most of what we call mental health challenges are actually gear shift problems that if you know how to shift, the anxiety comes. And I say this as someone with a long history of really severe mental health stuff. So I'm not minimizing it. I am saying that if you can shift down from 5th to 1st or up from 1st to 5th, you're going to feel a whole lot better. And then the happiness is sort of the one driving the car at that point.
Yeah, totally agree. I love that analogy. I have a crotch rock, a motorcycle that I obviously have to shift and do clutch work in an old pickup on the ranch in Red Lodge that the analogy hits because you'll stall out, you'll ruin your transmission. You'll blow shit up, So I get that. I think it's now begging the question, well, how the heck do we downshift, Britt,
Mm-hmm.
if we're running hot and we want to slow down?
That's the
How do we
question,
do
though,
it?
right? So,
Yeah.
Alan Watts, I love him. And he says
Yeah.
problems that are unsolvable are questions asked the wrong way. And so, why is part of me doing this and part of me doing that is not a good question. What's wrong with me? Not a good question. How do I downshift is the question. So, just changing the question is already going to reposition you to succeed. Then it's all right, well, what are your choices? The fastest way to downshift is ice plunging. I don't enjoy it, but like ice plunging biologically is going to shift you from high nervous system activation right into down regulation. So if you can't plunge your naked body into a pool of ice water, you can get the same benefit by sticking your head in a freezer or getting some ice cubes in your hand. It's so stupid. I'm like, how many years did I spend in grad school and therapy and destroying my life? And you're telling me just like make your body cold because that's the fastest way to downshift, but it's true.
Damn, that's a little golden nugget there, Britt. I mean, ice baths are all the rave these days. And fun fact, before I ran the Happy Hustle or started that company, I ran a biohacking company with my business partner. And we were doing ice baths before they were cool in little makeshift freezers. And we had Wim Hof on the podcast before anyone knew who the heck he was. So we've been OGs in that world. Obviously, like getting in cold water is nothing new, but now just the monetization of it and the promotion of it obviously is this new trend. But it's so true. Like if anyone out there has been in a fight or flight state and you get yourself in some cold water, it'll settle you down real quick. You have to find your breath and get really focused. Is there a tactic now to upshift to increase from 1 to 5th that you recommend as well?
Yeah. And most high performing entrepreneurs don't actually struggle with procrastination. When we're procrastinating, it's not because we're not motivated. It's because our gear shift is broken and our transmission is fried and our circuits are not working anymore. And so first task is if you can't get from 1st up to 5th, is it because you can't or because you're like, you actually need a rest? Because I don't care how high performance you are. We are all walking around in these meat suits that require things like food, water, and rest. Like not someone asked me once, like, but when I'm really in it, I'm grinding and I'm hustling, I don't want to stop and eat. I'm like, I hear you because I get that way too. But like, you're a freaking human. You need food. So like, figure it out, make it happen.
Whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming. But I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure-free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that the Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
Like just solve for food because that's not going to not be a need. So if you're stuck in 1st, what happens is people try to shoot for 4th or 5th from 1st and then they get stuck, and we call that laziness. Instead, the solve there is what I call a micro yes. Take the smallest possible stupidest step you can think of and then cut it into 20 more pieces. A micro yes is doing something so small you feel ridiculous doing it. Example, laying on the couch on a Sunday, binge watching, I don't know what people are watching, White Lotus, whatever the thing is. Okay, so I want to work out and part of me wants to sit here and watch my show and I don't feel like getting up. A micro yes is not go for a walk. A micro yes is literally take your left shoe off, throw it at the door. Done. Nailed it. But doing that one tiny micro yes then breaks that brain loop of stuckness. And now you have space to do bigger things. But you have to start with a micro yes so your brain doesn't freak out on you and shut you down.
Okay, why are we wearing our shoes inside on the couch, Britt?
That's a great question. Maybe they're socks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Throw a book across the room. Throw the remote. Find something to
Yeah.
throw because it confuses your brain. Again,
Okay.
lion brain is not wired for success or happiness. Lion
Yeah.
brain is wired for survival, which means
Mm.
autopilot is our default. And if you don't know how to break autopilot, you're going to get stuck there. Doing something to confuse your brain, like start singing, roll over on the couch, kick your feet like you're, doggy paddling. Anything that your brain's not expecting is going to break that loop and create space for choice.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept for sure. Just to have a micro yes committed or broken down into even smaller yeses. I think of whatever, I don't know if it's Mel Robbins who said the 5-second rule where you just count down like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you just do the micro yes to start that action. That's been helpful for me, where it's just like, do a quick countdown. If you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, you're like, all right, I know my dream is XYZ. I'm going to count to, do the countdown. Obviously that's going to fourth probably a little bit.
So yeah. And if you've ever, and there's videos of people doing this. If you've ever, like I've done skydiving and trying to jump off a high board, you can count down from 5 and freeze. So like sometimes 5 seconds is a big, and I'm not anti the 5-second rule. If it works, do it. But when it doesn't work and you have counted down and you're not moving, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm not going. I don't want to do it. My brain is in shutdown. The micro yeses are the solve for when that kind of work doesn't work.
So what would be the example? Let's just say someone wants to start a side hustle, like that's a big goal, right? And that's a macro yes, right?
Yeah.
Then what's your process to break down that macro goal to get to the micro yes, to then get to the mini yes within that micro?
Yeah. So if you want to start a side hustle and you have absolutely no clue what you want to do, trying to figure out what you want to do is a 5th gear goal. You can't make it that big. You got to start make it so small that it's easier to just do it than not do it. And so if you don't know what you want your side hustle to be, cool. Go online and find 10 people doing 10 different things. I don't care if you like them or not, but just write down, what are 10 people doing for side hustles? That's going to create now a feedback loop where you can get information and go, all right, of these 10 things, 8 sound really stupid, 2 sound interesting. Cool. Now I'm going to make a list of micro yeses for those 2 things. But you have to start with what is the easiest possible thing you can do, and then make it stupid easy after that.
Yeah, that really is how to get moving. I've always reverse engineered my goals, where I'll think about, okay, 5 years out, then 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, whatever. You just keep breaking it down until you know what you have to do tomorrow. And then my thing is I'll write down my MVTs, just 3 key most valuable tasks that I need to accomplish today. And if I do nothing else but do those 3 things, it's a win for the day. And I think that's how I've been able to combat this more disease that, can suffocate you oftentimes as an entrepreneur, because spoiler alert, there's always more to do. There's always more you can achieve. Like if you don't put the happy in your hustle and you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, it's probably because you're expediting timelines that are unnecessary, and you're not clear on the 3 MVTs of your day. I break it down to that.
I love that.
Keep talking, toot my horn a little more, Britt. I'm just riffing here, but
you're so smart. Oh my God, you're incredible. Yes, fangirling all over the place over here. No, I'm thinking like MVTs can get really stuck with the thought loops, the inner critic thoughts, the self-doubt. And the problem with all of it, and this is why I wrote this book, we think that our thoughts are truths, and we fight with them like we're shadow boxing. It's like any thought you think that's critical probably has at least one nugget of truth in it. So instead of fighting with it, anytime I hear a critical voice inside my head, you suck. Who are you to do circus? Like, who are you to write a book? Who are you to start a business? I always say, yeah, you're a little bit right. That's it. Yeah, you're a little bit right. Because to every critical thought, there's probably one molecule of truth. Cool.
Right.
I'm going to say you're a little bit right and then move on with my day. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, let's talk about this. Tell me everything that's wrong with me. It's like, how about you just validate the critical thought and you move along with your day?
Yeah, it really is. Those micro, I don't know if they're micro, because sometimes they feel so noisy and loud inside your head. You're like, you have this doubt that is oftentimes all you can hear when you want to accomplish something. And validating it is, yeah, you've never written a book before, Carrie. Yeah, but there's been lots of other people who have written books, and you're just as capable. Like I think a lot of people, they quit before they even get started because they have this self-limiting shackle on their success, right? It's a lot of S words, but that's the damn, that's the point. It's like, it really is oftentimes just between our ears, what's holding us back. And that's why I love this topic, because the science of stuck, like your previous book, and now Align Your Mind. Talk to us a little bit about the science, because I feel like that would help break it down even further if we knew, like, what is going on between our ears, in this monkey mind scientifically.
So part of the problem with the monkey mind is the idea that we shouldn't have monkeys in our minds. Like, unless you're on psychedelics or under cold water or in a very intentional state, we have lots of voices. They get loud when you don't know what to do with them. I think of it sort of like my brain is full of rescue dogs, and the rescue dogs are all growling and fighting with each other and barking. And it's like, yeah, but there's nobody taking care of them. And so what if you could actually sit down with all of the different competing voices, give each one a shot at saying what they want to say? And then I call it giving your brain a chew toy. Because what happens is all of that thinking is creating a stress response, right?
Yeah.
But that's not really a problem. It becomes a problem biologically when now I'm fighting. Oh my God, how could I think that? All right, well, now you're fighting with yourself. Because your brain is really smart, but really stupid and literal. If you're fighting with yourself, your brain's going to go, oh, she's in a fight. We need more cortisol. Quick, divert all of the energy from her brain to her legs so she can run away. And so the more we fight with our voices or ignore them, the harder they bite us. And so you have to give them a chew toy. You got to give them something, just a little nugget of, yeah, you're a little bit right. Or thanks, I'll take that under advisement. Or appreciate your input. I got it from here. But we think our voices are truth. And so we either fight them, cortisol, fight, flight, freeze, or we ignore them and they get louder. Cortisol, fight, flight, freeze. Either way, self-compassion isn't this soft, let's all be nice to each other thing. It actually interrupts your stress response, which keeps your brain lit up, which keeps you in a zone where you can execute and achieve.
Yeah. So well said. And it really is, for me at least, to write down all those things that I'm thinking, a helpful exercise, get them out of the head on paper. It's almost like a cleanse, a detox. Will you? Do you ever do any type of journaling exercise like that, or any specific prompts when you are journaling? If so?
Yeah, there's a wild one, and it's weird and it feels woo-woo and uncomfortable, but do it anyway because it works. And it's called non-dominant journaling. So I'm left-handed.
I've been doing that. Yeah.
Have you done it? It's so weird. I
yesterday.
feel psycho doing it, but it's great. So with your dominant hand, you journal to, like, my inner critic. Who do you think you are to do whatever? Great. Okay. Hey, voice that tells me I can't do anything, let's have a conversation. Then with your non-dominant hand, so for me with my right hand, I write my response as that part. And then you have a conversation, and you're going to feel a little crazy, but when you have that conversation, you get a lot of information. Oh, this part of me is actually not that deep. I don't have to be that impressed by its self-doubt. A 12-year-old full of self-doubt, a 12-year-old part of me doesn't have all the information that my grown-up self has. So of course she's going to feel incompetent. No problem. So dominant, non-dominant dialoguing is brilliant for this thing.
That's awesome. I recently heard my friend Danette May, she, serial entrepreneur, just sold her company for 8+ figures. But she's, best-selling author, really, like, and she started with like $7, I think, in her bank account. Like, really inspiring story, Montana gal. And she spoke to our Happy Hustle Club, our private mastermind, last month. And she said one of the exercises that she does every morning is called soul time. And she'll write down in her journal with her non-dominant hand, what would you have me know, God? Like, what today, like, what would you have me know, God? And she'll just listen and then journal with the left hand what God's response. And sometimes it's profound, sometimes it's very little, but I don't know what it is. I'm sure you know the science on the non-dominant hand, but it taps you into a different part of the brain, right? Do you know exactly why that works?
Well, no one really knows what consciousness is. So, like, when
Right.
you're talking to your higher self, and like, no one knows how we think.
True.
However, the science of why the practice is useful is, again, that idea that your brain on autopilot is not going to create or innovate or be, clever, because our brains thinking is hard, and our brains like to conserve energy. They don't like us to be happy. They like us to be alive. And so when you're doing non-dominant writing, it's hard. It's confusing. Your brain is so occupied with the mechanics that your thinking brain is available to start hearing and experiencing and sensing other things. So again, anything that breaks autopilot, habitual, this is just what I do, is going to be useful. And if you're not a journaler, fine, get dressed in a different order, take a different road to work. If every morning you grab your phone and you go on Instagram and then you do this, do it all in a different order, because the more you confuse your brain, the more access to your good stuff you're going to have.
Yeah, and we become like creatures of habit, where the routine just reigns supreme, especially as high performance. Like, my morning routine is 3 hours long. I gotta do X, Y, Z, and if I miss one step, I'm fucked for the day. It's just like I watched in our biohacking business, a lot of people just burn complete days because they woke up in their aura rings that they had a bad sleep. Oh, I'm 68. I'm gonna have a shitty day, and it's just like program them to have a shitty day. And I'm like, that's why we're all these wearables and all this infiltration of technology into our everyday reality, I don't buy into as much. Like, I'll use some things that I feel are effective, but I also just like to listen to my intuition and be so in tune with my body that I can just understand, hey, I am feeling a little tired. I mean, I should probably take a nap. I just yawned twice. Okay, I'm going to go nap. I don't need my rank to tell me that. You know what I mean? so it's like, it's the happy hustle to me, again, is really putting all these pieces together. There's benefits to optimizing your health using some of this new technology, but then getting back to just homeostasis and, like you said, downshifting properly, using non-dominant journaling, these micro yeses to take action. Let's talk a little bit about energy protection. I know you talk about, like, really with emotional clarity and how to protect your emotions and your energy from others who maybe are, attempting to be what we call energy vampires, in the term of John Gordon in his book, The Energy Bus. Shout out to him. He was on the pod. Great dude. I love that book. But when you have this alignment of your mind, especially now, there's always things pulling for your attention. I guess it's a two-part question. One is, okay, how do we protect ourselves and our energy? And then two, how do we control our emotions if energetically we get infiltrated?
Ooh, okay. So one of the fastest ways you're going to lose control of your emotions is to, and this is a hot take from a therapist, but I stand by it, and no one's going to like it, but let's do it.
Okay.
Is asking why. Why did they do that? Why didn't they do that? Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why questions will keep you stucker faster than anything. Like, great, now you know why we haven't moved. That's like asking, like, why is my office on fire? How do I feel about the fact that it's on fire? Tell me about your childhood. It's like, if your room's on fire, you go. Now, I get in business development, start with why. Yes, love Simon Sinek's work. However, start with why is great for business development. Start with why will rob you of your energy and create very, very intense emotional states, because now you're spinning and you're not going anywhere. Think of a car with its tires, smoke shooting out of them. So why is something happening? Eventually that question is useful, but right now, when you want to protect your energy, don't ask why did they do that. ask yourself, am I going to tolerate it? How willing am I to do the next step? Not why, it's what, how, and who. Why did they? Why didn't they? What am I willing to tolerate? What am I willing to do? Who can help me? And how am I going to get my next micro yes under my belt? So done with the why questions. Get rid of them. Don't get rid of them. Put them on the shelf. We'll deal with them later. You're not going to need them. Just put them in the back. Whatever. I need them because that's my entire career is built on the why, but you don't really need them. And then number 2, when your circuits get fried, that's when we forget all of the things except shifting. And here's the question that will shift you faster than anything. Either direction. What are my choices right now? What do I do about my business? What do I do about my finances? What do I do about whatever? Doesn't matter right now. We have to start with, well, what are your choices? Great. Pick 3 of those. Which 2 are you willing to do? Because we got most things when we say we can't, it doesn't mean can't, it means won't. Often our stuckness is not, I don't have the capacity. It's, I don't have the willingness. You don't need readiness. You need willingness. And if you can get to what are my choices? What am I willing to do? You will be in charge of those emotions a lot faster than asking why.
Amen, sister. Woo! I like it. That's some good stuff. I mean, I've always heard as well, like why inherently brings a negative connotation too. Like when you ask someone, well, why'd you do that? Well, then they have to defend themselves, which is like this negative loop. I don't know. I'm not a therapist, but is that like accurate? Yeah. Okay.
It's not inquiry. If I say to my husband, why didn't you paint the garage? I'm not like expressing inquiry into his reality. I'm saying you should have done that. And I'm mad at you. You didn't do what I wanted you to do. Why'd you hit your brother if you're talking to a kid? That's not inquiry. That's you saying, I don't like that you did that. So anytime you need to flip it, it's not why did I? It's I don't like that I. Why did they? I don't like that they. And then that goes back to what do you want to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. It's more important to, like you said, identify the who, the what, the how, and your choices in this scenario. Like I've always subscribed to the mindset that we really don't control much in this life except our attitude, our effort, and our reaction. Maybe those 3 things. Like that's it. You decide if you're a glass half full kind of gal or girl or guy. It's my wife calls me a delusional optimist, and I like to operate like that. But it's it served me because I think, hey, like you said, these meat suits, we're grateful for them now, but it's not forever. So we might as well enjoy the journey, have some fun, happy hustle, make a positive income and impact on others. Like that's what it's all about in my mind. So it's really just identifying those things in your reality right now. Is it a problem with your team? Is it a problem with your spouse? Is it a problem with yourself? And then what are your choices? How can you get from that unstuck place to a place where your mind is aligned?
Exactly. Your mind is not quiet. It's not silent. It's aligned. Big difference.
Yes. So I know people are like, all right, I need to read this damn book. So where do they go to read it?
Well, support local. You can buy the book at your local bookseller, hopefully, or buy the book everywhere people buy books these days.
Okay. So we'll link it up in the show notes. And then I know you also do speaking and stuff. If someone did want to, book you to speak to their community or on their stage, where's the best place for them? Is it your website?
Yeah, I love corporate keynotes. It's fun dropping I smoked crystal meth in a dirty bathroom while wearing a suit. That's like my favorite line in one of my speeches.
Did you?
Oh,
damn, girl.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people that are doing well while not being well. And you think of meth in a certain way, but it's like there's a lot of people that are meth addicts showing up for like budget meetings. I was one of them for a long time. Oh yeah, hot mess.
Okay.
So find me on my website, brittfrank.com. It's all there.
Nice. Now I got a great mental of you just corporate suit, just smoking meth in the bathroom. All right. Kudos to you. Let's link that up, Britt Frank. There's 2 T's in Britt.com. I always like to ask my guests just a series of rapid fire questions. And really, this is just random things, and then you answer honestly. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Okay, no, but let's go.
All right. Favorite food? Go. And you can't say meth.
Bread.
All right. Favorite movie?
Superman, the original, Christopher Reeve, 1978.
Nice. Favorite book?
A Wrinkle in Time, Madeline L'Engle. It's a kid's book.
What's your spirit animal?
A platypus.
Platypus. Never heard that one.
I did a meditation. I wanted like a wolf or a bear. And I'm like, I got platypus, which so checks out.
That's hilarious. Do they just still exist? Where do they live, if so?
They shouldn't exist. They're like a mush of all that they glow in the dark. They lay eggs. They're the weirdest animals ever. And one appeared to me. So thank you, platypus.
There you go. Best business advice.
2 steps in the wrong direction is better than no steps at all.
Interesting. I like it. Happy hustle hack for your health. Something uniquely Britt that you do.
Find a weird hobby that makes your brain glitch, like circus, whatever your version of that is.
Love it. Happy hustle hack for your money. Something you do to maybe save, spend, or invest wisely.
Give it away. It affirms that you have plenty to give when you give it away. This is manifestation, but it's really just cognitive bias working in your favor. When you give, even if it's 50 cents, when I was broke and my car was being repoed, find a way to give a quarter, because the act of giving affirms I have, which then tells your brain, well, if we have, then we're going to look for opportunities to have more of what we believe, which is that we have enough to give. So give it away. Not all of it, but give something.
Yeah. Amen. That selfless service is one of our 10 alignments. So I'm a big proponent. Happy hustle hack for your spirituality, something you do to connect to a higher power.
Do what makes sense for you. Spirituality does not have to be a protocol that you subscribe to. Just make anything you feel connected doing is spiritual. So pick something and do it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, nature's my church. And although I do go to church, but that's where I really feel connected to God. Okay, that was some amazing answers. 3 things you're most grateful for. We're not done yet.
Sorry. What was
today.
the question?
3 things you're most grateful for today.
My life, my husband, my dog.
Nice. And then if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on there, what's that billboard read?
4 truths about Mother's Day that no one wants to talk about.
What are they?
That is the last piece of content I wrote. It's a holiday that isn't a happy one for everybody, and you're not a bad person if Mother's Day makes you feel bad. Grief is complicated. You can grieve the mother you didn't have, even if she's alive, and you're not alone if Mother's Day is the worst day of the year for you.
Oh, wow. All right. That's a big ass billboard, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to pull over and read it because it's interesting. All right. Now we're done with the rapid fire round, Britt. You crushed it. And I just want to say thank you for sharing, Britt, your love, your light, your wisdom, your quirky truths as well, the alignment of our minds, your vulnerable past, and how you've pulled yourself up and been able to really make a dent in the universe, especially when it comes to, being stuck. I feel like it's such a painful topic for most. And so I feel like you're just shedding a lot of light in that arena. So I just want to honor you and say thank you for blessing us with your presence today. It's been awesome.
Thanks for having me on. This was so fun.
Yeah. Now, before I let you go ahead, plug some more links just so we can make sure everyone knows where's the best place to follow you online, where you're most active, etc.
Yeah, I have no boundaries on Instagram. It's just me. If you hear from me, which you will, it's me, not a team, not AI. At Britt Frank on Instagram, BrittFrank.com on the interweb Googles. Come find me.
All right. Love it. Tie a bow on everything we talked about today. If someone's out there listening, they're like, we covered a lot of ground today. Give us just a short rallying cry synopsis, maybe a call to action, will you, for someone out there listening to align their mind?
Yeah. So we're all taught our brains are out to get us and our minds are evil. What if you just started with the assumption that your brain is on your team? What if you just started with the assumption that your brain and your mind are your guys? They want to be helpful. They're on your side. Your brain is on your side. When you start with that, the whole ballgame changes.
So true. Awesome stuff here, Britt. Final question I ask all my guests is, what does happy hustling mean to you?
Oh, happy hustling means that my actions match my values and that they are aligned.
That is happy hustling. I love it. Britt Frank, y'all. Thank you for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everybody.